Can we cover ISO 27001 Clause 7 support in 3 minutes? I don't know. Let's give it a go. So support then in ISO 27001, it's split into several areas. We've got resources, competencies, awareness, communication, and documented information. These are all the things that you need in order to put your ISMS into place. If you don't have the right resources, you can't move forwards. If people need to be competent in their ISMS roles. They need to be aware of what they need to do, and we need to communicate to many different stakeholders, and we need to write things down and have an approval process. So let's have a quick look at those. 7.1 then and 7.2 about resources and competence. So you have to identify the people, the technologies, the finances that you need in order to put in place your risk mitigations that you've identified when you've been going through Clause 6. So here you're putting things or getting ready to put things into action. So you're going to need to go to the senior management team and say, I need X amount in order to put this in place. Maybe it's just time, maybe it's not money, but it should be a conscious decision and you should be resourced to do that effectively. And then on the competency side, you need to start making sure that everybody knows what they need to do, and you've identified any training skills gaps that people need to have plugged through. And it might be formal training, or it might be watching awesome YouTube videos, or it could be working alongside and shadowing someone. But then you're going to need to keep records of that training to evidence that Alan Parker has had the training that he's supposed to have in order to do his job effectively. Then on 7.3 awareness, you're making sure that people know about your ISMS, and it's not a secret to your employees or anyone else that needs to be aware of it. So, for example, we've already created a new information security policy under leadership, but we need to make sure that that is communicated out and people are aware of it. They also need to be aware of their responsibilities and what might happen if they don't adhere to those responsibilities. Something bad could happen to people's data, could be lost, and then there might be repercussions such as a formal disciplinary process or something like that. So there's making sure that people are aware of the implications of security. And then we look at communication. We start to think, well, okay, what do people need to know about security? Do they need to know more about phishing this quarter? So we're going to push on phishing. Are we going to make sure that they know about our new acceptable use policy? So you'll have a communication plan, both internally and externally, which says what people need to know under the circumstances that they particularly are in. So somebody in finance might need to know something that's different to somebody in the HR team, and different again for somebody in the IT team. Then finally, you need to manage your documented information in a document repository, whether that's a tool like Confluence, or whether you're just putting it into SharePoint or Google Docs, but you need to make sure it's under control and there's version control and documents are approved and moving through an approval cycle. So there is a requirement to document how you document things, if that stacks up. So there you go. That is Clause 7. And that should give you an overview of how ISO 27001 wants you to wrestle with it.